Hey guys, welcome back. This is another episode of the Big Time Earn It League. Um, we just finished recording the Earn It Light League with the FIU Panthers as we played Southern Miss. But this game, or this time, we're going over the Father League. As you can see, we're actually doing pretty decent recruiting. Got a bunch of guys in first place, just need to commit. And we kind of have some guys we're trying to sneak in as well. We have three more guys ready for visits. I think I'm gonna schedule them for Fresno. I think we have a bunch of guys coming in for the Fresno game. So when that game rolls around, we'll have a big showing of people to watch. I'm currently just trying to get these guys some kickers, man. Like they got two senior kickers. As in they have a punter and a kicker, both seniors. They have nobody, so I'm just trying to do what I can. To help them out. We do have a bye week, so we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to look at teams around the league. As you can see, it's a full league with 12 players and that's the max you can ever get in these leagues. Teams are doing pretty good. I wouldn't say any, but well, KG's not. What? Yeah, no, KG's playing a bad team. So I think we're all doing hot at the moment. Let's see. Heisman Watch. I'm pretty sure some user guys are in there. Ooh, Chris Robinson sneaks in this week. That's what I like to see. This man's been getting slept on all year. Had a great game last week against the Zips, and he shoots all the way up to third, jumping Georgia Tech, which is a user, and Ohio State. The only problem is we're going to have to beat Justin Fields, who is a user control team, and Lynn J. Dixon. Both guys are having pretty good years. I think Lynn Dixon, well, he's actually not leading the league in rushing anymore, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's another user, which I'm surprised isn't in here, but they might just be doing bad as a team. Justin Fields is going to be the one to beat, though, because I really don't know if we can beat him. That team is undefeated, and you know how they do. But at the pace he's at, and the fact that he's leading the league in, passing yards, I think we could squeak out a Heisman with this team. As you can see, Clemson and Georgia, two user teams, in the top 5. They usually are. Ironically, Alabama isn't. Oh, I guess he left Alabama to be a coach somewhere. Because last year Alabama was the user was on the team as an OC, and they won the national championship for the second year in a row, I think. So I must have missed the fact that he left, but that wasn't the case. We have 3 guys in the top 10 or top 5. Outside of them and Ohio, that's the commissions team, having a tough year this year with 2 losses already. Heard a lot about his defense not being able to stop anybody, having some struggles there, but I think he'll turn it around and make a decent BCS bowl at this pace. But I don't know if he has enough for Clemson and Georgia to fall out. Although if Georgia loses again, they might. But at this point, it's hard to tell. They both have some phenomenal teams. Hopefully, Justin Fields can choke it up. You know what I'm saying? And get squeak in a Heisman. But nevertheless, Oklahoma very close to squeaking the top 25 as well, as long as Montana State, who is holding the guy that is just torching it in the rushing game, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have Idaho, decently close, Georgia Tech, and we fall to 46. We jumped up. I think we were in the 60s last week. Had a rough start, and we're independent, so it doesn't really help. Not a lot of people kind of like to, vote for those guys. They're kind of in the same boat as us, but they're in the Sun Belt now. But Florida International, shockingly, is behind us, even though they have a better record and they're in conference. But it might have to do with the fact that our offense is so disgusting. Not a lot of bad users in this league. As you can see, they're all pretty much in the top half of rankings outside of Troy. That is a hard team to play with, though. 3-5, not the hottest start, but hopefully he'll be able to turn it around. And Georgia Southern is just doing what Georgia Southern usually does, and they just lose. So, feel bad for the guy, but if he's good enough, he'll turn him around. Shockingly, we do not secure. Well, dear God, no wonder. Jarrett Smith puts up the game of the century with 607 yards passing and 7 touchdowns. Perfect on the day against, what is that, Mississippi State? Michigan State? Whoever it is. That's absolutely dumb numbers. Dear God. If there's anybody who was on fire, it was this guy. So that's the only reason I don't think we won Player of the Week nationally. But Jeremy Wallace comes in clutch with 2 forced fumbles. He was a big reason that we won that game last week, and it's no surprise that he was elected Defensive Player of the Game or the week. DeMarcus Townsend pulling a quick one. I thought we were in the Earn It Light League because he balls for us like the same way. So it's nice to see he's having success in this league as well. And as you can see, we definitely won Player of the Week for both offense and defense in our independent conference. Not a lot of talent there anyways, but still. That's unfortunate we didn't win Player of the Week. I thought we'd get it. As I go for conference play, we are second in the independents. That's a debatable number. As you can see, good lord, our offense is putting up some numbers as we can. Florida International in the lead in the Sun Belt East. Ironically, followed by a two-win Georgia Southern. I think it's due to their conference record. So, have a chance to possibly come back in their conference if Florida International loses conference games, but I don't know if that'll be very likely. Georgia Southern's in a bad situation to be in the conference championship, as is Troy. Don't know if they can pull it out. ULM might need a choke for this to happen. Well, they definitely need a choke, but I don't see them getting that lucky as it's almost halfway to the season at this point. A pretty tight race in the SEC West. Kind of a three-way tie between LSU, Auburn, and Alabama. As a Tigers fan, I'd have to say I want LSU to squeak through, but whoever squeaks that out will be playing our user in Justin Fields in the conference championship as he leads the SEC East. Montana State doing their thing in the Pac-12 as they lead the North. Have a good chance to squeak that out, to be honest, and make the conference championship. Oregon is right behind them, though, and you can consider Washington as well, but I think Oregon's the one that's going to give them a run for their money, statistically speaking. Utah State with an even kill record so far, just behind BYU, looking to squeak in for a conference championship. To hopefully play against KG's Idaho Vandals, who are 5-1. Very impressive that he's been able to do what he can do with that team. Bossman's Ohio. I think it's Ohio, Miami. I'm not sure. Not in the lead, but very close to being in the lead. If they can pull one off and have Ohio State fold under the pressure of being in the top slot, I actually think that they might have just played. Actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, they played this week, so big game on the line for Ohio, as well, both Ohio's, but a bigger game for number 19th ranked Ohio, as this game will ultimately determine who goes to the conference championship and play a absolutely stouted Notre Dame, first ranked Notre Dame at that, so you can actually have the chance of knocking them off the top in the conference championship. So very tight race there. Interested to see how that will finish off. Oklahoma struggling in the Big 12 East. They actually went on a 3-game losing streak to start the season, if I'm not mistaken. They had a very, very rough start. Some chemistry things are off for them, but they're looking to rebound and possibly pull off a late conference championship appearance, as they are undefeated in their conference. So not in the worst situation to be in, with 4 wins already in their conference, but they're going to need Oklahoma State and Nebraska to lose at least one more game if they want this to happen. Don't know who they're going to play at this point. Might be Texas or Utah. If he's lucky, it'll be Utah, because if I know who's on that Texas team, they're probably monsters. A tight race here in the ACC as Georgia Tech trails Clemson for the conference championship appearance. They are both undefeated in their conference, so we could see if Georgia Tech plays Clemson, which I'm assuming they do. They do. They play them in the next week. Have a chance to determine who goes to the conference championship for both teams. So that will be a good game to watch next week. Possibly game of the week between these two teams, as they possibly face Penn State. Hard to tell, but it's looking like Penn State's balling this year. So they'll be fighting to play Penn State in the conference championship this year. We take a look at some stats. As you can see, Chris Robinson is in a strong lead with almost 300 more yards than the next closest passing threat. Absolutely balling this year. Really his breakout season, and it's no coincidence that it's resulting in him getting some Heisman eyes on him as well. And it doesn't even just stop there. He's doing it on the ground too. Well, it was a little better last week, but oh, interesting to see that Dixon actually hopped Dobbs. Dobbs was the rushing leader for a while. Looks like he's been slowed down as of lately, and it might be the reason why they've lost some games, if I were to guess. But with Dixon leading in rushing yards and Chris leading in passing yards, it could be a good race to the Heisman from here. Chris Robinson also gets it done on the ground, as you can see, 60th in rushing. And Merrill, the good thing about Robinson is he's actually pretty evenly spread with the way he passes, but even still, you can see that Merrill's is still top 20 when it comes to receiving yards. Shockingly, we don't have anybody in the top 25, and I say that sarcastically because our defense is little poo. They just get like to be honest, if we didn't have the best passer in the league right now, we wouldn't be winning games. Defense is bad. It's absolutely poo poo. Can't get any turnovers, as you see. Only 2 picks by our best corner. With that, I conclude this bye week update. I'll be doing this from now on. Whenever I get a bye week, you'll just get an update of everybody around the season, or around the league. If you're interested in getting into one of these leagues, we have space in the Light League. I'll have a link in the description to the website we have for our Dynasty. And you can check it out a little bit further, see if you're interested, and communicate with our commissioner. Definitely need about like 2 more people in the Light League, and then through there you could possibly get into the big league. But definitely a fun league to play in. Very challenging, so it might take some time to get used to the sliders, but ultimately I would recommend anybody to play this. But that concludes our week 9 update, whatever they are. Owls? Yeah. FAU Owls. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.